Hi everyone, and welcome to this short video. Today we're going to talk about how to cite in text when using quotations using Harvard referencing style. In this video, we'll learn how to reference short quotations and long quotations using an author-focused format and an information-focused format. And then we'll finish with a few tips for using quotes appropriately in our work. Now, when we talk about direct quotations, what this means is that we're using the exact words of the author. In academic writing, we can use either short quotations, that is, quotations that are less than 30 words, or we can use long quotations, quotations that are more than 30 words. There are rules for using both, and let's take a look at these. So these are the rules for using short quotations. They should be incorporated into a sentence, and because we're copying the exact words of the author, we need to put single quotation marks around the quote. Finally, we need to include the source of the quote, and this is our citation. So let's have a closer look at the citation in Harvard style. The citation should include 3 pieces of important information: the author's name, the year, and the page number. The author-focused citation places an emphasis on the author by integrating the author name into the sentence, which is followed immediately by the year and the page number in brackets. This type of citation is also called a narrative citation, and it's usually placed at the beginning or in the middle of the sentence. Notice the text at the top of the page. This is the original quote that we're going to use in our hypothetical assignment. Now, because we're quoting, we're going to use these exact words. Students often find higher learning to be an exciting challenge, and this was written by Jones in 2020. In the first example, when we break it down, we can see that the author name is at the beginning of the sentence, and this is followed immediately by the year, a comma, and then the page number inside brackets. Then we have the reporting verb, suggested that, and then the full quotation in single quotation marks. The next example is similar, but in this case we start the sentence with our reporting verb, according to, and then the author name, Jones, and then in brackets immediately after the author name we have the year, a comma, and the page number. A comma is placed immediately after the citation, and then we have the full quote inside single quotation marks. The third example uses a fragment or a portion of the original quote. It has the author further back in the sentence. So, many students find academic study an exciting challenge, as Jones suggested in a recent study. Notice that in this example, the citation, which includes the author name and the date and the page number in brackets, comes after the quote in the final part of the sentence. The last example demonstrates that we don't need to use every word of a quote. We can simply use a fragment to highlight the part that we want to use, but we must always include the page number when using a direct quote. Now let's take a look at how a short quote might look if we use an information-focused format. This kind of citation is usually placed at the end of the sentence. If we break this sentence down, we can see that the citation comes after the quotation. It begins with the author's name, followed by the date, and then a comma before the page number. Notice that there is no comma between the author name and the date. There is only a space. And note also that the P denoting page number is punctuated with a full stop. All this information is placed within round brackets, and then a full stop is placed after the citation. So now we know how to reference a short quotation using both author-focused and information-focused formats. But if we want to use a long quote, a different format is used. By long quotation, we mean quotes with more than 30 words. Long quotes are far too long to include in the body of your text, and so these are usually indented in a block format. Here are the guidelines for using long quotations. They should be indented from the text margin in a block format. The font should be one size smaller. So, for example, if you're using Times New Roman 12 points in the body of your essay, you should use Times New Roman 11 points for your long quotation. The line spacing is single-spaced, and quotation marks are not needed. Here's an example of a long quote with an author-focused citation. Remember, this format has the author names integrated into the sentence and outside the brackets. So here, the sentence starts with the reporting verb, according to, and then the author names, McRudden and Ross, followed by the year and the page number in brackets. Now, because this format integrates the author names into the sentence, we use the full word and not the symbol. Here we can see the quotation is indented from the text and it's in a smaller font. Notice too that the quote is introduced with a colon, which is placed at the end of the preceding sentence. And here's the same long quote with an information-focused format. You can see that the author names, year and page number appear at the end of the quotation or within brackets. And when this type of citation includes more than one author, notice that the symbol is used, not the word and, unlike our previous example. Notice also that there is no comma between the author name and the date, there is just a space. And importantly, when we cite a long quote in this format, we place a full stop after the quotation, but note that there is no full stop after the citation itself. Too many quotations is not good, so use direct quotations sparingly. The majority of your assignment should be in your own voice. Try not to rely too heavily on the words of others, because it can mean that you're not demonstrating your own understanding of those ideas. Also remember that your in-text citations should match the reference entry in your reference list at the end of your assignment. So we hope this has been helpful. Good luck with all of your referencing, and we'll see you next time.